Hello, today we will talk about one of the most advanced armies in history, the Roman army. We will discuss what a legion is, how it was organized, and what it consisted of. The video promises to be very interesting, and I hope that after it, you will have no questions regarding the structure and composition of the Roman army. Let's begin. A legion was a well-organized unit consisting of 4,000 to 6,000 soldiers. Typically, the Roman army included 30 to 40 legions, spread across the empire. Each legion was divided into cohorts of 500 men, which in turn were divided into centuries of 80 soldiers. A century consisted of about 10 contubernia, each made up of 8 soldiers. Each contubernium lived and ate together in the same tent, sharing responsibilities. This structure was designed to increase cohesion within the legion and boost the morale of the soldiers. Written sources tell us that soldiers fought primarily for their comrades, not for the emperor, and the Roman command actively encouraged this approach. Additionally, the Roman army included auxiliary forces, which we will discuss a bit later. Special attention in the Roman army was given to supply. The commanders of the legion's legates carefully checked the quality of food and water in the legion. In addition, the Roman army had auxiliary units, engineers, and even medics who treated wounded soldiers. All of this made the Roman army not just a militia, but an ideal, well-coordinated machine. Special attention should be given to the roads. Throughout its history, the Romans built over 80,000 kilometers of roads across the empire. Thanks to this, the Roman army had extremely high mobility and was able to cover more than 30 kilometers a day in full gear, which weighed around 40 kilograms. Thanks to these roads, the Romans could quickly concentrate over 40,000 trained soldiers in one place. Let's start with the well-known legionary. The legionary was the most numerous unit in the Roman army, and it was they who played the key role in military actions. Legionaries received a high salary, which allowed the units to be constantly replenished with new recruits. Before being sent to war, each soldier underwent training and combat preparation, which turned them into professional, trained soldiers. A legionary's equipment typically consisted of a short sword, the gladius, and a large shield, the scutum. Later legionaries also carried 5 javelins, pilums, which proved highly effective in battles against disorganized barbarians, allowing them to efficiently break their formations. Most of the legion wore chainmail and helmets, but the wealthiest and most experienced soldiers could afford more advanced armor, the larica segmentata. Although in many films and games larica segmentata is shown as the main armor of the legionary, in reality, this was not the case. This armor consisted of iron plates and provided maximum protection for the soldier, but it was very expensive. Cavalry was part of every legion, numbering between 200 to 300 men, which accounted for about 5% of the army's total strength. The cavalry mainly consisted of the sons of wealthy Roman citizens, as each soldier had to buy his own horse and armor. Cavalry was considered an elite branch of the military and often played a key role in battles. The cavalry was divided into several units, such as cataphracts and light cavalry, each serving different purposes, and it is worth looking at them in more detail. Cataphracts were heavily armored warriors. They were usually armed with spears ranging from 2 to 4 meters in length, which allowed them to break through enemy lines at full gallop. Light cavalry played an equally important role but was more commonly used for flanking attacks. They wore light chainmail and carried an enlarged version of the gladius, up to 1 meter in length, along with small round shields. Their horses were rarely armored, but thick leather coverings were often used to absorb light damage. Auxiliary units played just as important a role in the Roman army and could perform various tasks from reconnaissance to supporting the main forces in battle. Of course, we should start with the archers. Archers were typically light infantry armed with short bows with a shooting range of 70 to 80 meters. Their main role was to deal damage to the enemy in the early stages of a battle and disrupt the enemy's formation. They were usually positioned on the flanks, and their numbers rarely exceeded 6,000 men. After the Battle of Cannae, where the Roman army suffered a crushing defeat by Carthage, mounted archers began gaining popularity in the Roman army. They were recruited from the nomadic tribes living on lands conquered by the empire. Mounted archers had a significant advantage over lightly armored infantry and could often be equivalent to 5 to 10-foot soldiers. Since we are discussing the full composition of the Roman army, it's also important to mention engineers, medics, and cooks, who provided the army with everything it needed during marches and after battles, helping to treat the wounded and repair weapons. Over time, siege weapons also began to appear in the Roman army, and these required constant maintenance and repair. Siege weapons played a key role in the storming of fortresses and cities. The Roman army had several main siege structures. The most famous of them, of course, was the scorpion. The scorpion is similar in structure to a crossbow but is larger in size and has a greater range. Next, I suggest we take a look at the onager. This weapon is very similar to a catapult and, like it, launches massive stones over city walls or into the enemy army. Mobile siege towers allowed soldiers to reach the storming wall under cover and assault it using special drawbridges. That's all from me. I hope this video helped you understand and learn about the structure of one of the most powerful armies of all time. Before finishing, I would strongly ask you to subscribe and leave a like on this video. My channel is just starting out, and I would really appreciate your support. See you next time.